is an edition where you get to dance, you get to sing, you get to brush back and be fully entertained. We are coming to you from Mariah for the Mariah Old Time Wedding in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Of course, this is a reenactment of what weddings on our island once were. This is going to be a great episode as we feature the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Come along with us. I'm Davia Chambers. In our stories, we highlight Lake Oto folktales and superstitions, the Black Rock Sea Festival, and Emancipation Day celebrations 2023. Stay with us. Let's Talk Tobago. We'll be right back.
It's everything about the people.
Come out and face the people and them and talk whatever in their mind to talk.
Signal Hill, Patience Hill Electoral District. It's your turn. The THA Executive Council is coming to meet with you as we continue our district town hall meeting series. We invite you to come out in your numbers at the Patience Hill Community Center on Tuesday, 8th August at 6:30 p.m. as the Executive Council members give updates on existing and upcoming programs and projects. You also get the opportunity to share your concerns and ask questions. So join us from 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 8th at the Patience Hill Community Center for the Executive Council's District Town Hall meeting. People of Signal Hill, Patience Hill, Spring Garden, and the Spring Garden Trace, Orange Hill Road, Wim Estate, and Cemetery Street, Lambo, this meeting is for you. Remember, your voice matters.
And there could be no Tobago Heritage Festival without the Lake Oto folktales and superstitions. And it was a very entertaining night. But don't take my word for it. Have a look at this story.
The Lake Oto folktales and superstitions has always been a major highlight of the Tobago Heritage Festival. Despite the rains, many came out in their numbers to witness the retelling of our cultural traditions. This year's presentation, titled The Duke of Lekito, Crave All, Lose All, was presented by the Lake Oto Close Connection Cultural Club.
I have a sword in my hand, help me to use it now. I have a sword in my hand, help me to use it now. I'm going away to watch and pray.
I'm really enjoying the show. It really brings back the feeling of the community. It is a good cultural show. I brought some friends here who's also experiencing it for the first time, and they're having a spectacular time.
I would say that I am definitely enjoying the production tonight. You have a little bit of drama, you have we twang. So it is really interesting, and it kind of like reminds us of how things used to be a long time, because I could tell you, I remember getting my cocktail as well back then, right? So it is really nice, and I think we should definitely continue with this.
I'm Kian Walker Hazel for Let's Talk Tobago.
For this story, you've got to grab your bottle, your spoon, and a drink of choice, because right now we head to Scarborough for the Rum Shop Lime, which has returned to the calendar of the Tobago Heritage Festival. Enjoy!
In its 36th year, the Tobago Heritage Festival has reintroduced on its calendar the Rum Shop Lime. And oh boy, was it an experience! The experience showed how the rum shop was a meeting place for adults in the village long ago. The business of the village was aired by special characters over food and alcohol, bottles, food, and a drink of your choice, where one can be sure to hear all about Tobago village affairs.
Tonight has been dubbed the Rum Shop Lime. It was really designed to revisit the days, the ancient traditional days of that, where the rum shop was like a university in sort, where you have just gone to this place and meet everybody and anybody doing anything and perhaps more under the influence of alcohol or influenced by alcohol in its presence.
Yeah, I come every year for the heritage. It'd be nice, you know what I mean? So I love it. I like some of the old time stuff, some of the new time stuff is a good mix. Because some of the youth now don't know about the old time stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's good to kind of reintroduce a little bit more into the community.
I don't know nothing about it. Like I said, I don't know nothing about Tobago, and I enjoy, you know, the little I get so far.
I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
The Mariah Old Time Wedding attracts hundreds of spectators every year. And in true Tobago style, come let we go, because there's no other experience quite like this one. We're here at the Mariah Old Time Wedding 2023, and I have with me two visitors to our beautiful island of Tobago. This is Vintage and Naraya, and they are from Bermuda. I just want you to tell us, how have you been enjoying the Tobago Heritage Festival?
I feel that it's been very eye-opening and a great experience to experience how your culture is set up, and it's been very nice. Everybody has been welcoming and very inclusive.
One of the best trips I've taken so far. I just love it here. The music, the food, everything is just nice. The people are nice as well.
I mean, I saw you in the back dancing.
Yeah.
So we are here with Lyndon Lashley at the Mariah Old Time Wedding. We've reached down to the recreational ground where the wedding reception takes place. Now, he has been involved in this festival for over 5 years. Lyndon, what keeps you coming back?
Just the love of the arts. Just the love of the arts. We see in as heritage is something that needs a lot more young people in it. What other way to get more young people in than to have those who are just bridging that gap between the old and the young?
And you know, I must ask, how are you enjoying this year's festivities?
Ooh, boy, watch now. If Olia was not here, Olia miss out. If it wasn't here, you miss out.
They definitely missed out.
That alone says everything. If it wasn't here, you miss out.
Beside me is Assemblyman Area Representative for Mason Hall Mariah, Assemblyman Ian Pollard. Now, Mr. Pollard, you have spoken about monetizing the Mariah Old Time Wedding. Do you mind going into details for us at this time?
The Village Council of Mason Hall Mariah need to come together to have certain aspects of the Heritage Festival monetized here so that those persons from the cruise ship could come and visit here and get some aspects of the Heritage Festival on a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half stop, because it's high time we start to monetize the business of Heritage Festival.
And how have you enjoyed today's festivities?
Oh, it's been great. I'm glad to see that the young persons are intricately involved, and this is how we pass on our history.
How are you enjoying the festivities?
Beautiful. I've been to several of the shows, as many as I could, and I mean, I like it. I love it. The Mariah wedding is especially nice because I like the dances that they do and all the traditions coming on, and especially the fact that so many of the dancers, participants are so young. It is so good so that they can carry on the tradition.
Is it the first time Mason Hall New Edition folk performers are part of the production?
Yes, because Mason Hall New Edition used to be just dancers, but now they asked me to come and be the artistic director, so I do the music and movement. The group rarely belongs to, the leader is Mrs. Erlene Crooks Ned, and she invited me to be a part of this group.
Keep watching Let's Talk Tobago.
The Tobago Harvest Experience has been added to the Tobago Heritage Festival calendar 2023. We take you to the village right now.
This is Speyside. All are we and who all are we be. This is being Tobagonian. You know, this is what it's about. Sharing and having a society that cares for each other, and we just give. You know, even the strangers within our gates we give. So Tobago just keep being beautiful.
Nestled in the beautiful east side lies the village of Speyside. And for the first time, they incorporated their harvest into the Tobago Heritage Festival. And well, basically, it was all about giving thanks, then on to the eats and drinks.
The Speyside Harvest Festival is actually the only harvest festival that always occurred during the heritage period. And so we just decided this year, since it naturally occurs during the same period, that we should add it to the calendar. And it's really a celebration of Thanksgiving. It's an opportunity for the church and the community to come together and to give God thanks for all of the year's blessings. And so between last year, July, and now, God has been good to us.
It's a unique opportunity. It's something unique. I mean, I had experiences with friends from Trinidad, and they find this harvest phenomenon out of this world, because
and indeed continued blessings coming from the entire Tobago Updates family.
And we have Assemblyman Sonny Craig. It's your birthday today, and we wish you a very, very happy birthday. And we pray God's continued blessings upon your life as you continue on this journey in life and as an assemblyman representing the island of Tobago.
And to use his term, birthday blessings going out to you, and I trust that it's a sunny day.
That's right.
That we have a sunny day.
That's
indeed.
right.
All right, and we have birthday shout-outs going out to my very good friend out there, Simone Scipio Briggs, and we know celebrating in style. We want to wish you a happy birthday, and indeed certainly that you continue to enjoy the celebrations, and indeed continued blessings coming from my family and the entire Tobago Updates family.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Yes, good morning and welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates morning show. Want to send some shout outs this morning, and indeed congratulations the Tobago Updates team. I'm not certain how many of you were able to follow yesterday, but yesterday was the Tobago Day celebrations happening in Brooklyn. And indeed, certainly a grand celebration out there. Let me send some kudos and commendations to my very good friend hosting out there, Kimmy Potts. Kimmy Potts certainly representing and getting on that stage and doing her thing out there for Tobago Day. I was particularly impressed with the turnout for the Tobago Day celebrations, and it really seems to be that kind of activity that's building and indeed growing. To this year, they have also had the presence of Chief Secretary, the Honorable Farley Chavez Augustine, as part of the Tobago Day celebrations. I see that Secretary Trevor James is also out there in the mix, really giving an indication, and I suppose this is part of that call, because the information is that there's also going to be a follow-up town hall meeting, part of that call in relation to connecting with the diaspora. And we probably need to be out at Tobago Day come next year.
Of course, we're on that train.
Definitely.
Providing
certainly.
Cal provides.
Yes, providing, depending on Cal to get back.
That's right.
But under the circumstances, certainly kudos and the commendations are going out there to the entire team and all those who were involved in coordinating the Tobago Day 2023 celebrations. Adana, who do we have on the rundown this morning?
Right, beginning our program this morning, we have Ainsley King, re-elected as president of Trinbago Unified Calypsonians Association, TUCO. So he retained the presidency and he'll be on our program this morning. We also have Miss Casey Marie Boucher Kunkun, and she is a plant protection specialist in the Department of Agriculture. We started a conversation with her, and we're going to continue today talking about the giant African snail. And bringing up the rear, we speak, of course, with our friend from the TTPS, Superintendent Rodil Kirk of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services, as he brings updates as to what has been happening around the island over the weekend and the past week. So that's who we have for you today on the rundown on our show, and we're asking you to stay tuned with us before we head out over to Tobago in Focus. And of course, we ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Mediation is used as an alternative to litigation through the use of an impartial moderator and communication and negotiation techniques. The Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection established its mediation unit in 2009 and has steadily expanded. The unit, equipped with 2 certified mediators, has since settled several matters, including landlord and tenant issues, merchant-customer disputes, property and land, parenting, and even issues regarding the running of traditional susus. Assistant Coordinator at the Mediation Unit, Carol Spencer Edwards, further explains.
We deal with family and relationship disputes, neighborhood conflicts, community disputes, juvenile conflicts. So the range of issues are there, and as I said, we try to offer persons that option as against going to the court.
Ms. Spencer Edwards revealed a high success rate between 70 and 75%, noting that a large part of the unit's success lies with the process, as persons are allowed to speak freely in a safe and comfortable environment.
Quite often the issues that they deal with or that they're dealing with is not out of the ballpark. It's just that maybe sometimes not able to sit and express themselves. And sometimes you need somebody there to say, here's what, let's start with, or hold up, give her a minute, or hold up, give him a minute, you know.
The recent addition of a therapeutic counseling unit, manned by 8 counselors, has further expanded services, including a crisis hotline, parenting workshop, grief counseling, life skill coaching, marriage counseling, and learning enrichment programs. Services can be accessed through its walk-in services or by referral.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. At this point, we welcome joining us online, Ainsley King, the newly, should I say, re-elected president of Pan-Trinbago. All right.
No,
Sorry, this is TUCO.
That's right.
Trinbago Unified Calypsonian Association. Ainsley, clearly I want to give you a totally different organization. Beverly might not be too happy about that.
Right?
Good morning to you.
Morning, Julian, and morning, Miss. Good morning to Tobago. Beverly would not mind, trust me. She wouldn't mind, right? Because she's very happy at this time. I'm quite sure I got the message. Thanks, Beverly, and thanks to everyone who reached out congratulating me on the success to be re-elected. A pleasant good morning to each and everyone, right? So, Julian, it's all up to you. Let's go with it, man.
Well, certainly, and I want to say this is probably a good indication of what I have deemed the working relations between TUCO, Pan-Trinbago, and all these agencies that operate at the level of really trying to ensure that our culture and our art form stands tall within Trinidad and Tobago. But we want to dive in a little bit to the elections. We know that heading into the elections, there were some contenders in the circumstances. There were those who felt that Ainsley should not continue. Tell us, how do you feel coming out with the final results this time around?
Well, Julian, I mean, it must bring a good feeling because, you know, coming out of the election, what actually happened is that the majority of members expressed their confidence in me through the election, you know, because it was a landslide victory, which symbolized that the confidence is high where I'm concerned. And I must express that starting from even being the vice president, when you're doing things from your heart, sometimes you don't know what it will do for you in the future, because as vice president, I opened an office called the Office of the Vice President, and that targets the less fortunate Calypsonians in TUCO, and also like the seniors in Calypso and so on, because I thought that it is important, and any organization, I mean, to have a strong organization, you have to focus on developing the weak areas. And I took it up on my own as vice president and started to do that. And while doing that, I was able to accomplish a lot, because around that time, the COVID situation impacted the world. And I was able to move in because at that time, nothing was happening. People couldn't work, people couldn't gather, people couldn't do anything. But I was able to, at that time, to come out and introduce an event called the Veterans, which I did with a TV station, and was able to facilitate some of the senior Calypsonians at that time, and able to give them work, and was able to put money into their hands so that they could have food and so that they could continue living and so on in a comfortable way. In that crucial time, I also reached out to some of the unfortunate Calypsonians in Trinidad and Tobago and was able to assist them. I'm a businessman, which most people know, so I was able to take some finances from the business and contribute it to Calypsonians. I also gave children computers from across the zone, and at that time I didn't even expect to become a president or to be running for the presidency, but then the late President, Mr. Masimba, died in the process. And that was after I did all of that. And when he passed away, I went into the organization, and when I examined the health of the finances of the organization, I realized we wasn't in a good place, and we were in debts over 6 million, 6 million plus close to $7 million. We also had a situation where for almost a decade, the NIS of the workers wasn't paid. I also went in and discovered that workers were not being paid on time, and it was a big lapse over 6 months and so on. So I inherited an organization that was in a state, and I was able to actually treat with this situation, and now the debts we had, the 6 point something million, 90% of that was paid off. The NIS, we were able to deal with it. We got some amnesty along the way, and it break down from 2 point something million to 800,000, and we were able to source that money under my leadership with the team I had, my hard-working team. And we were also able to fix the situation with the workers, so workers are getting money on time. And all this happened, and today, I mean, it has contributed to the outcome of the elections, because, I mean, I was doing it and I did it from my heart, not realizing that all that was done would have accumulated into confidence from the members, and the election definitely demonstrated that. And I'm humbled and grateful for the confidence that is now being entrusted in me.
You have had a lot of challenges being vice president and even a part of TUCO, because you mentioned a whole lot of things that you had to deal with and to bring resolve to. And as I said, it's very, very challenging. What is the thing that drove you to ensure that these things were taken care of in the position that you held?
Passion, because you all will know, you all are from Tobago, and you all will know that even in Tobago I had a terrible time, because there are situations there that I will have to address, and I will have to try to, my first stop will have to be with the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, and I must extend public thanks to him, because he was one of the persons from behind that understood the position I was in. And since Carnival last year, me and he had a private meeting, and he said, you have to, it's a must that you must retain the presidency, hold on to the presidency. And in doing that, he had was to correct some discrimination that was taking place against me at that time. And that is because of the Tobago situation, which has to be sorted out, because we have some situation where 1 or 2 people continue to put the organization into disrepute, and they are getting the ears of the politicians, some of the politicians in Tobago, and that has created a lot of damages. And people will know that when you're in Tobago, like in the past, the set of information and news you would have been getting about Ainsley King as a president, and compared to now in Trinidad, and I mean, here it is that we have a whole country that is extending confidence in Ainsley King, that in Tobago had all this set of problem. But the reality is, what we have is dissidents in Tobago, a few people, very few people, and they are going relentlessly at Ainsley King's character and so on. But if we don't correct that situation, what will happen is that the Tobago situation is going to remain in a very dormant and negative position. Right, so thanks to the Chief Secretary, and also Ansel Dennis, because I have to give kudos to these people. They are 2 leaders in Tobago, and I'm saying that I know that these people are very balanced-headed people, and I could tell anybody that the 2 leaders we have there, both opposition and leader, they were behind me, in every possible way to ensure that I retain this position.
About those projections, at this point, we are in August of 2023. We are anticipating the upcoming launch for Tobago Carnival, the 2nd edition. Tell us what's going to be happening different this time around. I know there were some learnings coming out of the first to ensure TUCO's successful involvement once again in Tobago Carnival.
Well, I must start by letting you all know that in moving forward, things will have to be approached differently. And as I said, the first stop off will be with the chief secretary and maybe the other secretaries assigned to the specific carnival area, and have discussions, because in moving forward as Tobago people, we'll have to collectively sit down and have the right set of discussions that will benefit the majority of people and also Tobagonians, to make sure that in planning and in going forward, there are no misconceptions, and we are on one page aiming towards a successful, well, the second Tobago Carnival, you know. But I am quite confident that everything will work out well, because of the type of person I discovered the chief secretary is, right? And I think that the other people by now will have a clear understanding of what the realities are, right? And based on that, I think that going forward, we will have a totally different situation from the first effort for Carnival. But for sure, we are going to be having the Tobago Monarch, and the Tobago Monarch most likely will be going straight to the finals of the Dimanche Gras this year, because that was passed on the table. We will have to just look into it and move forward with settling the decision and so on. But most likely, out of 100%, I will say it is 90% sure that the next Tobago Monarch coming out of that competition should be going, or will be going, straight to the Monarch finals. And this is something that I have lobbied for, and this is something that is, well, a lot of people believe that should have taken place before. But I'm saying this is something that people could look forward to.
Certainly a welcome kind of announcement. We take a quick break just before we continue the conversation with Ainsley King. So we remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Summerama, real steam for the summer standard. Is a dream for the summer. Dreamy, steamy, standard. What you have? What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard be beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more, we got more. Standards of what is searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beating on quality and price. It's nice.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Update Morning Show, coming to you here live from Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And at this point, viewers, we continue the conversation this morning with Ainsley King, president of TUCO. And we were just at the point chatting in relation to looking towards Tobago Carnival. So I want to get a sense from you, Ainsley. Just remind the viewers the tenure of office for the TUCO executive in terms of what's the normal tenure, and what would you say is at least one focal point for this term in office?
All right, so it's 3 years we're looking at, right? The term is 3 years. But the focal point is to bring prosperity and to expand and expansion, and also work on self-development for as much Calypsonians as possible, because we believe that working on your, if each individual Calypsonians could develop themselves, it will serve better for the organization. So our intention is to digitize. When I say digitize, the Calypso. When you look at Calypso, Calypso is absent on the digital landscape. You know, which is really bad, because once that is so, it means that people will not be able to actually get the choice of liking or knowing or looking into Calypso. So we intend to treat with that as fast as possible. We also intend to work on educating the Calypsonians to learn how to do digital marketing. We intend to set up a desk. We also intend to work on the gap between the executive and the membership, so that we can have more transparency with information, passing on information, and helping them to even have a voice to contribute to the planning and to strengthen the organization. So there's an open door policy which will be implemented very soon, but the focus is mainly on equipping Calypsonians to be able to manage their affairs and manage their business, and to get on the digital platform, to get their music out there, so that they could get connected to the world, right? We intend to collaborate with different businesses and also different groups across the world to ensure that we could have that networking, which will assist us in making that global breakthrough, right? But we have a lot. I mean, the focal point, basically, I could round it off by just saying bringing prosperity and expansion to this organization. But before you go, I must say, let me just add this to Tobago elections, right? Tobago elections, on the date is the 17th, because yesterday the South Zone had their election, and Steve Pascal, he is now the chairman on that side. So Tobago turn is on the 17th, Sunday the 17th of this month. The nominations will open tomorrow, the 22nd. And it closes on the next week, Tuesday. It closes. So interested persons who are financial and want to serve, your opportunity is now, right? So all you have to do is organize your nomination and drop it in the box, so that next week we will have an idea who our candidates are going to be.
Will they be dropping off?
Okay, so they'll be dropping it at the office, at the E&M building. That is on Dutch Fort. I mean, it is close to education. That is going back to Martino building there on the ground floor.
Excellent. So therefore, you also are calling in terms of support. Now, this would be for persons who are already members of TUCO. You can't now be joining in order to qualify. Just clarify.
You can't now be joining, and you have to be financial members. And since as we are on this, a lot of ignorance continue to prevail, because somebody's financial status is dependent on individuals. Individuals, you are the ones that have to obtain and maintain your financial status. So I heard people having problems to say that they are practicing Calypsonians, and they are seeing all kind of people voting and so on. But the organization is open to any citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. So whether you're from South or wherever you are from, you could be a member of the organization. You could be a member of any zone. You could be from Charlottesville and you're a South Zone member. So we want to eradicate the level of ignorance that continues to damage the organization by a selfish few people who continue to be driven by ignorance and is creating and don't understand the level of damages that they are doing. So let us put sense together. Members, you have to make sure that your financial status is maintained by you. Nobody's going to do that for you, right? So the financial members are the ones that are going to be eligible to contest this election.
Ainsley, very quickly, any plans in terms of heading into schools and so on? And I make this comment specifically for the fact that, soca seems to be prevailing, depending on where you sit. You have various other elements are coming forward in music. but important in terms of recognizing that foundation for Calypso. Are schools going to be utilized as one of the key avenues for really
That is
spreading?
part of the plan. We want to get Calypso into the school curriculum. That's one, so we are working on that. But of course, we have projects where we intend to move into the school. So yes, Julian, the answer is yes.
Thank you very much there again, President of TUCO, Ainsley King, joining us here this morning as we speak about the future of TUCO under his leadership. So thank you so much again. Viewers, we want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show, and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Waiting for CXC results and wondering what's next? Or maybe you're looking to switch careers. Learn a skill to jumpstart your career at the NESC Technical Institute. Get qualified for jobs in the energy and industrial sectors, or even start your own business. Choose from automotive, electrical, instrumentation, drilling, welding, fabrication, AC refrigeration, IT networking, and more. NESC diplomas are gate approved. Classes begin in September. Visit nesc.edu.tt to apply.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. To them once again, they better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax, we will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kambi, and we are happy that you are here with us. And we just want to say good morning to everyone who's on the live. Thank you so much for joining us. In studio this morning, I am speaking with Miss Casey Marie Boucher Kun. We started a conversation last week about taking care of your crops and stuff like that. And today we're going to be speaking about the giant African snail and what we should know. Welcome to the show this morning, Casey, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you again. Good morning, everyone.
Right, so we're talking about the giant African snail, what we should know. So tell us, I know that there's an eradication awareness or exercise happening on the island of Tobago. So give us a little insight on that and tell us, of course, what we should know about this snail and stuff like that.
Okay, well, of course, we're talking about the invasive species, the giant African snail. And first, I always like to start off describing what the snail looks like. This is a snail that starts off quite small, a few millimeters, and then can attain a mature size of up to, excuse me, about 8 inches. Yes, they grow very large. However, the definitive characteristic is they are deep reddish brown. And I don't know if you'll have the images to pull up for reference. They are deep reddish brown with creamy yellowish longitudinal stripes spanning from the apex of the shell all the way down to the largest body whorl. Yes?
Right. Mm-hmm. So 8 inches is very large for a snail, I would think. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know if we have the image there, but these, of course, are not good for our, what should I say, our crops. No. When we're planting and harvesting and stuff. Of course, it's a pest. So it's something we need to know how to treat with and how to deal and eradicate
Certainly.
to ensure that our crops are safe. So tell us, how do we go about? Well, we can identify them because you said it's deep reddish brown and with yellow streaks, and it grows up to 8 inches. But how do we remove these things from our property, or from if we see them around our crops? How do we treat with them?
So as it stands now, we have the facility where once you spot a suspicious looking snail, I should say, because not all snails on the island are the invasive species. We do have some local lookalikes. You'll have access to the plant protection hotline that is public, 482-7528. We encourage members of the public, if you see a snail, you're not sure what it is, take an image of it and WhatsApp it to that hotline number. Once the image comes in, we will then verify and we will indicate whether or not it is the invasive species. From that juncture, you'll be guided. The guidance is you must never handle the snail with your bare hands. Always cover your hands. If you don't have gloves on hand, put a plastic bag on. Or just ensure that you're not in direct contact with the snail. Okay? Once you do that, you have the option to drown the snails in a salt solution or bleach solution. And then thereafter, at your convenience, they can be incinerated. Yes?
So no direct contact with the snail. Ensure you protect your hands and your environment, and drown them in a salt solution. So that could be like salty water. That could work, right?
So the mixture is 2 cups salt to 1 gallon of water, or 2 cups bleach to 1 gallon of water.
Right. So you drown the snail and then you...
Yes. Now, excuse me, my voice is fighting with me this morning.
That's fine.
We know that people are working and people are busy. You come out for your early morning walk and you might spot one. Once we know and we verify with you that it is in fact the snail, you can then always have a killing bucket. I call it a killing bucket, where you have your solution in the yard, neatly tucked away with a secure lid. You just take it up, place it in there, and whenever you see another one, you do the same thing, because I know you won't have the convenience of incinerating every single morning or every evening, but on the weekend or whenever you have the time, you can then dispose of them appropriately.
Right. So the solution, well, it doesn't matter when you mix the solution, because I know sometimes you might think, oh, you want to do it as soon as you see the snail and it could only last for like 24 hours.
No, that salt or bleach solution should last you some time.
Right.
And make sure you have that secure lid as extra security, so that once you put them in there, you cover it. It's secure from pets, from, inquisitive children, etc. that might be in the yard.
Yes, definitely. And you gave us a hotline number that we should call should we identify or suspect that we've identified one of these snails. Tell us the number again.
482-7528. That's the plant protection hotline. You can WhatsApp your image and you can also call. And the hotline is usually open between the hours of 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. Now, we do get requests coming in on the weekend, but you may not get that answer. You'll get your answer Monday morning, most likely, if you send in the request or question on the weekend.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. So, guys, if you come across anything that looks suspicious, there we go. Is this what we're talking about?
Yes.
So this is what the snail looks like when it's at its largest form?
Yes, so these are adults. These are definitely adults, and what you have to note is that a snail will be sexually mature at 6 months old. So that contributes to how fast the population can expand. Yes, these are more images of adult snails. Yes, again, this is one of our earlier samples that we would have collected. I remember this image. So you see that deep reddish brown coloration and those they're creamy, yellowish, those stripes that span from the apex, that's the pointy end, all the way up to the largest body whorl, right? You don't want to handle these with your bare hands at all.
Right, I definitely would recommend that you don't. And as you said, of course, people go for their little morning walks or whatever. When you see them on the way, of course, report them, take your image. Of course, we always work with our mobile phones wherever we go.
Their mobile phone
wherever we go. So take a snapshot of it and send it to the number, right? I see that there's a schedule here of events taking place. Tell me a little bit about this.
So these are the Giant African Snail Eradication Exercises. So Division of Food Security would have recently mobilized a team dedicated towards the eradication of the pest, initially to reduce the population in the 7 affected areas and ultimately to remove them completely from those sites. So today, the 21st of August, There'll be an eradication exercise in the Calder Friendsfield area, and you'll see the assembly point. What I want to emphasize is that the assembly point may not necessarily denote that that area is infested, but it is a good starting point for volunteers to meet with the eradication team to get going. Yeah, we have this schedule out so that people in the affected zones can know when the team will be in the area working, and also that you can plan to be a part of the exercise. All you need to do is appear at the assembly points with your closed-toe footwear and a torch. Yes. Remember, more people involved in the exercise will equal more snails intercepted at any given time.
Right. So basically, what the teams are going out to do is to look, to hunt, to search.
Yes.
For these
So they'll be
snails.
collecting all the snails that are found on that given night during the period in which they're doing the exercise, and they will then incinerate those thereafter at the end of the exercise.
So are these snails spotted more regularly in the morning time or in the evening? Because I realize that this exercise is taking place in the evening. Obviously, people are working during the day.
Yes.
So I suppose that's the reason you chose that time. But is it that the snails are more visible or more, they appear more in the morning or the evening? How do you, or is it doesn't matter?
Okay, so the giant African snail is a shelled mollusk, which means they are susceptible to drying out or desiccation. So they are more active during the early hours of the morning and just before sunrise. So they're from sunset all the way through the night till sunrise. That's when they're active. So we've planned the eradication exercises in a time where we'll be able to intercept more. However, on overcast conditions like today and the last 2 days where it's been raining profusely, they will be active in the day as well because there's enough moisture to accommodate their movement.
Right. So guys, if you want to be a part of this exercise, you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be trained. All you have to do is appear with your closed-toe shoes and your torch, and you can be a part of this exercise to help to eradicate this giant African snail, which is a threat to our agriculture.
Certainly.
Right? So we want to join, we want to partner with the department who is taking on this program to help us, as a matter of fact, to ensure that our crops are safe. Is there any more information you want to share with us about this snail, about the exercise, about how we should take care of our crops?
Certainly. When you live in an infested zone, so you know the snail is in your area, there are certain don'ts. You don't want to share planting material from your area until we've arrested the infestation in that area. You don't want to share mulch, gardening supplies, anything that can allow the snails to be caught up in it and spread to uninfested areas. Keep all your material within that zone. Things that can be burned safely, so the paper, the boxes and so forth, the garbage, the refuse that you might have in your yard, you need to deal with them in your space. Do not export the pest further across the island. And one very important thing, I have been getting reports of people applying salt and other killing agents directly to the snail in the open area. That's a problem. You will spike the population. And we've noticed that in areas where people are applying killing agents, whatever you might come up with, some people are putting powdered detergents, diesel, you name it, on them directly. You must contain the snails, particularly the adults, because when they sense that they are going to expire, they expel the eggs into the environment around. And if you do that in open soil, you will come back in 1 to 2 weeks, and now you have a multitude of juvenile snails, and you're wondering why. So you have to contain and kill the snails. Get that bucket that I spoke about with that secure lid. Create your solution, prepare your solution, have it in your yard once you live in an infested zone, and whenever you see them, collect them and place them in that killing solution.
So this is why the education on this particular, or on anything as a matter of fact, is important, because as you rightfully said, someone might see them and in anxiety, they might just run for whatever they have at hand to try to, to kill this snail. But of course, now that we know that the snail will expel its eggs before it dies, we need to contain. This is the importance of containing the snail before you try to, of course, to kill it or to eradicate it from your property. Do not try to be a magician or a superhero in your area, but rather, of course, listen to the advice that is coming from the professionals, which is contain the snail in a bucket with a safe lid, and then you can, of
You
course,
can apply a killing agent in that container.
That's right. That's right. Because even if they expel the eggs in there, it's contained, so you don't have multitudes of snails when you come back, as you rightfully said. Because can you imagine, right? Can you imagine killing one snail and thinking, yes, I'm a champion, and then you come back 2 weeks, 500. So is it safe to say that one snail will expel for up to 500?
Yeah, they can, depending on the age and, of course, food supply, etc. They can lay between 50 to 500 eggs every laying.
Wow. So, guys, clearly it is important that you contain the snail before you, and of course, in safety, remember to cover your hands with whether a gloves, a pair of gloves, or a plastic bag, and ensure that you do not come into direct contact with the snail. And I think that this exercise is something that is very interesting and very needed for today, and I'm happy that you have invited the general public. I think it's an opportunity for them to learn more about how to eradicate the snail and how to treat with it and pests of this nature. So I'm really happy that you guys are doing that. Let's just remind our public about the days that you're going to do this. I know one is starting from today. So let's just run through the schedule to tell them what days and what areas you'll be reaching at.
So no problem. So every day of the week, the eradication team will be in one of the, or sometimes two, and in one or two of the affected areas. So today, or tonight, I should say, they'll be in Calder Hall, Friendsfield area, and they're assembling at the Batiste Hernandez residence at 114 Calder Hall Road. And then from there, they will move in a strategic pattern because, of course, many areas are affected, but they have to plan and work in accordance with the plan for the day. On Tuesday, they'll be moving to Canby, Montgomery. On Wednesday, they'll be back at Mount Grace Flats and Felicity Heights Wim. On Thursday, they'll be in Ibo Gully, Lescoto. And Friday, they will be working at Milford Road, Scarborough. That's opposite the Coast Guard base, that seafront area there. And on that same night, they will also be working in the Lambeau Belgroves area. And what I want to emphasize is that you look out for your schedule every weekend. It will come up by Sunday. Or Lovely Communications Department will make sure that the updated schedule, the activities may vary from time to time, so it's important to check for the schedule. Come out. It's exciting to know that you're participating in a worthy cause because this can affect us. Remember, it does not only damage our crops, but they are also vectors of the parasitic rat lungworm that can cause meningitis in humans. So all of these are concerns that we have to take into consideration. Work with the eradication team. We have a very dedicated and helpful team on the ground at the moment. So please facilitate them. Put away the dogs. They will be identifiable. They'll be wearing their identification badges. And some of you, depending on the area, may receive calls from the Plant Protection Unit just to inform you that they'll be in the area and they need your cooperation for the exercises to be successful.
And where can our viewers find the information in terms of, because I know you said to check every weekend, where can we find this information for the schedule?
Of course, well, you know, social media is the go now.
That's right.
So you'll check our Facebook page, Division of Food Security, Natural Resources and Sustainable Development, and you will find a new schedule there every week. You can also check the Plant Protection Hotline's WhatsApp status. We try to keep the up-to-date schedule posted there as well. Yes? So once you save the hotline number, you have access to the status, and you'll get to see a bit of what we do as well when we're working out there.
All right, thank you so much, Casey Marie Boucher Kun. Yes. They're representing the Department of Agriculture. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it. We are in the process of capturing these snails. Remember to wear your protective gear, check the schedule if you want to be a part of the process, and let's capture these snails and live a healthy and safe life in Tobago. Thank you so much for joining our program. We go to a break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back. But before we go, of course, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
To Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Waiting for CXC results and wondering what's next? Or maybe you're looking to switch careers. Learn a skill to jumpstart your career at the NESC Technical Institute. Get qualified for jobs in the energy and industrial sectors, or even start your own business. Choose from automotive, electrical, instrumentation, drilling, welding, fabrication, AC refrigeration, IT networking, and more. NESC diplomas are gate approved. Classes begin in September. Visit nesc.edu.tt to apply.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kambi, and in studio we'll be speaking with Superintendent Rodel Kirk, as he gives us updates from the TTPS, what has been happening on the island of Tobago, and we're also going to be speaking about receiving stolen goods. Good morning, Superintendent, and welcome to our show.
Good morning, Adana, and good morning, Tobago. Happy to be here.
Right, we're always happy to have you, and of course to know of what has been happening on our island over the past week and the weekend.
Right. What I can tell you is that this week and this weekend had a number of activities. We first kicked off with the Great Race celebrations. Many expected that because of the inclement weather, they may not have had the attendance that they did, but I understand that thousands of people were at Stobby taking in the celebrations. And then yesterday, we had the Castara Fisherman's Fete. That in itself, too, was overwhelmed with the participation of the Tobago public and by extension, the persons who are visiting the island at this time. So I believe it was a success. What I have to report is that there were no major incident, thank God. I also want to thank my officers for their quick response, which led to a person being saved. A car plunged about 100 feet down a precipice. The passing patrol would have detected that something went wrong. They found the person down at that precipice. I want to thank these officers for, reaching out and responding, to showing that level of dedication. I also want to thank the responders like the TEMA Fire Service, persons who were passing by that assisted as well. It shows that we still have love in our island.
That's right.
So that is one of the good things that happened over the weekend. We have no major crimes reported, no major serious crimes. Just, a few, one and two, well, at least about 2 house break-ins. And, as we on that topic, we have seen the increase in house break-in and general larcenies on the island. And it is, I believe, because there is a market for these goods when they are stolen. But I want to urge Tobago people, do not buy stolen goods. There is an offense under Section 35 of the Larceny Act, which is receiving goods knowing them to be stolen. And when I say that, you know, it's once you engage in that activity, you are part of the problem. So, you know, if there's no market for these items, maybe the perpetrators might limit their activities where that is concerned. So what I want to urge people is that you yourself could face the brunt of the court if you partake in purchasing these items from persons. You know, it's something that should be discouraged, notwithstanding that you may pay for it. You see, when you look at certain considerations that may take place during the investigation, your iPhone might cost $10,000, and this person bring it and sell it to you for $1,000. That is a red flag. So you have to be mindful as the individual who purchases these items. So if you purchase that, the inference may be drawn that you know that there was something wrong, right? And you buy that, although you may legitimately pay for it, you could end up paying for it elsewhere in the court if you are found wanting. So I just want to encourage people to, you know.
Yes, I know. I know that, of course, purchasing items that you know to be stolen is an offense. But what about if you purchase an item that is stolen, but you're unaware that it was stolen? For instance, the same iPhone, let's say the iPhone costs $10,000 and somebody comes selling it to me for $1,000, but their case is that it's refurbished or something has happened to it and we just, you know, is not a brand new iPhone or whatever. So they justify the fact that the price is ridiculously lower than it would be on the market.
Well, in that case, I'm saying that every case will be judged on its own merit. So it's determines, if the investigation determines that is so, well, that is, you know, that will be taken into consideration. But if not, you know, you will, you know, find yourself in hot water. Right?
Yeah, and you know, it's just mischief, you know, mischief. And of course, you have to apply good judgment and good sense because, as you rightfully said, if something costs on the market, in the marketplace, it costs $10,000 and you're selling it to me for $1,000, I would want to do all my investigations to find out, well, where did you get this item?
Yes.
How are you selling it so cheaply? Something must be suspicious
As
about.
a potential buyer, you must do your due diligence when you are not buying it from a legitimate place of sale, or as the case may be. Do your due diligence so that you could, you know, at least satisfy yourself that the items that you are about to purchase have some legitimacy in it. So you have to do that to safeguard yourself, right?
Exactly, or just buy from the original merchants.
Place.
Yes, yes. I want to talk a little bit about the home break-ins because I know you said there were 2 over the weekend or within the last week or something like that.
Right. What we found is that persons are moving around most likely in the night, and they may enter premises, you know, break and enter and steal goods. I realize that they are stealing flat screen televisions, jewelry, tools, etc. So I'm urging people, you know, we can't stop everything from happening, but at the same time, what I'm urging people to do is to try to mitigate against these things by either putting additional security measures, whether it be cameras, whether it be reinforced doors and windows, to sort of mitigate these things from happening. In respect to the larcenies, what we find happening is that people leave, although it's your property, as someone said, and no one has the right to come in your yard and thief your brush cutter or some kind of thing. You must do some kind of, you know, don't just leave it lying around, right? Do something to mitigate or prevent that from happening. So this is what we are urging people to do, right? Because yes, it's yours. Nobody has the right to walk in the yard and take it up. But at the same time, if you put it there, you create an attraction for the person who just go about and pick up people's things.
Because we have some mischievous people on the island, right? Not everyone are upstanding citizens, and people really, as you said, you make it attractive. As unfair as it sounds, you make it attractive to the person who wants to make mischief, to make their hand fast, as we would say here in Tobago. You know, so it really is important to add that extra measure of security to your property. And how do you suggest we do some of these things? I know we spoke about installing cameras and stuff like that, which is an added expense to the proprietor. But what are some of the measures that one should take to secure their property?
Well, you know, one of the philosophy that I want to talk about. Someone once told me, if you think good health expensive, try sickness. So the thing about, if you want to safeguard your property, you will do things to keep it. So some of the things you do, when you purchase items, one of the things that you should do is actually try and record all the pertinent information of that item, whether it be the serial and model number, etc. Take a photograph, download it into your in cyberspace, so that it'll be easier to, because sometimes some people have these items and they don't even know what is the serial number because they might have thrown away the receipt or the package, etc. Try and practice these things. Put some sort of marking that you could later identify. Do something just in the event that is taken. In addition to that, have some sort of tool shed, something that you could probably keep it away from the eyes of the public. All of that, and again too, all you have to do is just practice good sense. Don't just leave things because it's yours and you feel nobody shouldn't come in, or have a dog or something. Do some kind of thing, that you could alert you in the event somebody is coming into your premises to do something, right? And of course, get the nearest police station or the emergency numbers so that you could reach out in the event that you have been faced with a real-time situation.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a responsibility also to take care and to safeguard our property from persons wanting to invade our space and intrude and take what does not belong to them, things that we worked hard for. So try to safeguard your property by fencing and building the tool shed and having a dog and a camera. As costly as it might sound, it will end up saving you in the long run. Thank you so much, Superintendent Kirk, for being here with us this morning and giving us some insight as to what happened over the weekend and how we can safeguard our property. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy that you stayed with us right throughout the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kombi, and of course, we are going to leave you here this morning. But before we go, of course, and heading over into Tobago Notes, we ask you to continue to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The popular Blackrock Sea and Pan Festival is back on the calendar, and oh boy, it did not disappoint. The village was awakened to the blowing of the conch shell, signaling the start of the production with the traditional wake-up call at 5 a.m. This was followed by a procession through the streets alongside dancers, drummers, steel pan bands, and fisher folk. Then it was time for the boat christening and popular stain pulling.
I'm pleased with the turnout. For us, it's about learning from this experience today to move forward to bigger and better heritage festivals. These things are part of our culture and we need to keep them.
And so far, I really enjoyed everything, especially like the live music. Yeah, in general, it's just a really nice vibe.
Blackrock welcomed for the first time the addition of a pan festival, which included Cats and Jammers, the pride of Blackrock, and a selection of other Tobago bands.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
Careful.
Honey, I feel I'm going to start to cook, yes, because these children must be hungry now. Right? Okay. Oh, shucks. Oh. These plugs, oh my gosh.
Hey, Richard, hey, come from there, come from there.
What's going on in here?
Oh God, I should have buy extinguisher, boy. What would you do if this happened to you? Dial 990 in case of fire emergencies and always have a serviceable fire extinguisher ready and available at all times.
Are you flood ready? Recycle and properly dispose of large waste. Avoid sweeping yard clippings or trash into drains. Plant trees to avoid soil erosion. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
A pilot sick out was to blame for the mass cancellation of Caribbean Airlines flights yesterday. According to a release from CAL, they received a remarkably high volume of calls from pilots reporting that they are unwell 3 hours before the scheduled departure time of flights. This comes amid negotiations with the Trinidad and Tobago Airline Pilots Association, TTALPA, for a new collective agreement 2015 to 2018. However, the TTALPA denied knowledge of any industrial action, stating that the law prevents them from engaging in such actions. In the meantime, domestic passengers are being accommodated on the ferry, while international passengers are advised to await contact from CAL regarding their new flight plans. And Tobagonian Ainsley King remains as president of the Tobago Unified Calypsonians organization after winning the national executive elections. Dr. Rudolph Otley and MC Mark Bro Morris Edwards challenged King for the position. Voting occurred simultaneously at the Queen's Park, Savannah, and the Mount Pleasant Community Center. And the new executive consists of Vice President Steve Pascal, General Secretary Shirlene Hendrickson, and Treasurer Judy Bennicourt. The group is looking forward to continued unity and creativity and excellence in calypso music and culture. And finally, opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisasa has strongly criticized the Elections and Boundaries Commission for its decision to hold fresh elections in the Laguna Indian Walk district due to a tied result. Accusing the EBC of bias and incompetence, Prasad Bisasa expressed her refusal to accept the decision without a fight. The EBC declared the election void after a second recount yielded another tie, with each candidate receiving 1,428 votes. The opposition leader accused the EBC of attempting to cover up its mistakes and questioned the rejection of the disputed UNC ballot. She pledged to stand against any abuse of the electoral processes and seek legal advice if necessary.
And that was in news in 90 seconds.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
All right, viewers. So today, heading off and starting off with our conversation, and obviously we're going to be speaking about what's going on with Caribbean Airlines. And joining us to give his perspective is the chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Curtis Williams. Good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm pretty all right.
Nice to hear
And
you this
morning to all
morning.
viewers and listeners. Yeah.
So, Mr. Williams, first of all, let me just get your initial take on this whole matter and what's been going on.
Well, Candice, just over the weekend, my phone kept ringing and I wanted to know what was really happening. So I journeyed down to the airport and I saw a couple of delays and stuff like that. And then suddenly I realized that there's some sort of action by the pilots, and that causes a disruption in the domestic arrangement. It seems like it spelled from the domestic and it went all international. So this this effect of that disruption, I'm gone international, and it's not good for us. It's not good for the airline. It's not good for any one of us at all.
Now, we are also seeing, like, one of the complaints that came out was that, so Caribbean Airlines canceled all their flights yesterday, basically. Not all, but most of their flights yesterday. And for the people that were traveling between Trinidad and Tobago, they are being placed on the ferry. And there is this complaint, like, are we still going to get some refund because it costs $75 to travel on the ferry one way, but on the plane it's $200. But we haven't heard anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of press releases between yesterday and this morning. Cal have released a lot of press releases indicating to the passengers as to directing them to the port to get across to Tobago and vice versa. Also, the THA Division of Tourism have released press release as well. But we're still waiting on the bigger picture. Candice, this thing is all boiled down to money. And as you can see, it's some sort of negotiation going on, and it all boils down to money. So we're hoping that the goodly Minister of Finance, maybe in the background, somewhere along, he have to get involved in this because it all boils down to money and negotiation.
Yes, and as we're speaking about money, how much or what impact did it have yesterday and even going into today on the Tobago economy in terms of what the cancellations and so on? How did this impact us?
Well, Candice, it will definitely affect us in a massive way. We have visitors here for the Great Race that couldn't get back to Trinidad on time to conduct their normal business. You have visitors who have connecting flights to get out of Tobago, and for some strange reason or the other, they couldn't get that connection flight. The cost is going deep into the visitor pockets. We also have folks who need to go to do business in Trinidad, starting from this morning. And here you have a bit of delay again. We probably have to reschedule, etc., etc. Candice, it's not looking good. And we definitely want to let the government know it's not looking good. So someone have to come in and really get this thing going. We see battering about is a lot of now I think probably there may be some court action or something of that sort, industrial court action. So Candice, it's a lot happening in this space, and we ask on the authorities to get the act together. Somebody wake up and just really get the act together, because this is not looking good for Tobago. It's really, really, really looking really terrible.
And additionally, Mr. Williams, even without the industrial action taken by the pilots, every day, every Monday morning, every Tuesday morning, we're hearing the complaints from our people about how difficult it is to get flights. And every July, August, this is a major complaint. You can't book tickets in not even in advance sometimes for the July, August period. And then we know how much we Tobagonians depend on just the need to be able to use the airline as a taxi, even though we have people in Trinidad, some of the authorities in Trinidad saying that we should not be using the airline as a taxi.
Well, Candice, I mean, getting to Port of Spain sometimes to conduct business is may be more efficient for us to use the airline, emergencies, etc. So, and the air bridge is essential services between the two islands. So I think some emphasis is supposed to be placed on that, coming from the government perspective. We know for sure that the Port Authority came to the rescue of Cal and the air bridge, and we want to applaud the port. I mean, we sprang into action. We get in touch with the port, and the port was more than willing to do whatever it takes to give the ease to the Tobagonians and the visitors here. And we want to say thanks to the port, and they continue up to this morning. The port is putting on additional sailings to help the folks come across and get back to Trinidad accordingly. So, I mean, the port doing their part. But what about the air bridge? We really need to get this thing sorted out once and for all. And we know it definitely got to be an intervention of the Minister of Finance, because he's responsible solely for CAL, and it is a finance problem. It is a money problem.
Yes. And, what has the conversation been like at the level of the board of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce? Because I know that you have been in conversations with the Ministry of Finance to deal with this and other matters. But whenever you bring this up with the Minister of Finance, what is the response that you are getting?
Well, we spoke to CAL management briefly, and we can see some of the issues that they are faced with. And but we longing to have that meeting with the Minister of Finance. I know he's the acting Prime Minister now, but we're longing to have that meeting with the Minister of Finance and the other stakeholders, so that we could really come and to one space and get this thing settled once and for all. Because Candice, this thing have been going on for generations. I mean, I've slept in the airport nights upon nights, trying to get flights to get back to Tobago. Candice, this thing have been going on for decades. I'm talking about over 30, 40 years this thing have been going on. I mean, I study in Trinidad, and I'm telling you, back and forth, it is a nightmare. And we really need to get this thing fixed. So I appealing to all the stakeholders, the ministry, the THE, let's meet and get this thing settled out once and for all.
What do you think would be a good method or a good way for us in Tobago to get this message across? Because it's not just the business community, it's not just tourism, it's not just hoteliers, restaurateurs, it's everybody. It's students, it's people seeking medical attention, it's just people who just need to go and get a document signed in Trinidad. I mean, everybody is faced with this. So then what do you think we as a collective people can do to really get the message across?
But Candice, and you're right, and it affects everyone, and I mean everyone. And we at the Chamber, we are trying our best to get the parties together. We know that coming out of the meetings with Cal in the past, it boils down to a finance issue, all right? And definitely so, it definitely goes back to the government. And if the government intervene, that's the only way we can get it done. So we as the business community, we are asking the other associations, the Hotel Association, the Taxi Drivers Association, the other associations that are on the island, let's come together and lobby the government to come and meet with us and discuss this problem once and for all.
I mean, and we're seeing here also that in the Chamber's budgetary advice to the government, because we know we have the national budget coming up in a month or two. And so you guys submitted your document as to what you would like to see coming out of this year's budget presentation. And amongst them, at the top of the list, I should say, for Tobago, is we need to treat the air bridge. I mean, we had over 20 flights prior to COVID-19, and now we're still at 12 flights a day. And we're seeing here that you're saying that, we can't keep seeing the air bridge as an economic service because the Trinidad and Tobago, because it's more than just economy, it's a necessity. And I wanted to speak to the fact that this air bridge problem, what impact is it having in our tourism? And I really want you to share some details as to why it's so important.
Candice, is very important. So we have international arrivals, and we ask for that desk in Trinidad to bring those folks across to Tobago. Candice, if you're coming in based on the flight you landed in Port of Spain, you can get that connecting flight across to Tobago. And that poses a huge problem for a visitor. And so these are the things that we want Caribbean Airline and the other stakeholders to look at, the influencers, those who can make the thing change. And because we've seen that smooth connection is not there to bring international visitors. Even us trying to get to Trinidad at certain times, you know you want to make a day run, so you may go down in the morning and do whatever business you have to do, and you want to get back, and you got to be at the airport at a certain time. And again, if we have some more flights, a little later flights, it will accommodate us and the visitors who come in across the island. And again, all of this have an effect on our accommodation. And so the visitor may say, I can't bother, I'm not going across to Tobago, let me stay in Trinidad, or just let me don't travel at all. Because you're home, what part of the world you are, and you're trying to book your flight, and you're trying to get a seamless travel as possible. You don't want to be in one area and have to be waiting on standby. And Candice, you're on vacation with your family, you really don't want that. You want to stay where you are and booked everything seamless. And we don't have that seamless connection between the two islands for some strange reason. And hence the reason why we are asking the government, because Cal reports to you, and you are the major shareholder, you are their shareholder, and you need to have some input into what's going on. I know Cal again will say it all will boil back to money, and again, we're going back to the Minister of Finance. So it's important that we lobby the government in getting these things done. It's really, really, really important. And we ask the other associations, the other bodies to come together, and let's have a one meeting that we could tell the government this is the situation and we need to fix it.
Have you guys been able to quantify what is being lost as we continue to struggle with the air bridge? How much money does Tobago lose, whether it's local domestic dollars or even foreign revenue that comes from, potential international arrivals into Trinidad who may want to come to Tobago but are discouraged because of the fact that they can't get a ticket?
And you're correct. And so we're reaching out to our partners at the Hotel Association to assist us in the process of putting together some figures on the impact of this whole Cal debacle. And because, Candice, I know today we will still have the issue going on, getting flights across to Trinidad and international flights. I know that Cal did lease an aircraft to assist in moving folks. We saw that update coming in very late last night. And so we know for a fact that something has been done on CalPan, but Cal hands are tied, seems like, because they will need some input from the Minister of Finance, because it's all about money. And and that's the problem that we face with.
Do you think that the Minister of Finance is trying to stymie the growth of Tobago by not allowing or not empowering Caribbean Airlines to properly service the air bridge?
I wouldn't put it like that. Maybe he needs to understand how it affects us directly. And if we want to give the minister and the ministry the opportunity and Cal to hear our issues, and then we can now make a judgment call after exposing our issues to them. So we are asking all the various associations if we can come together in one space so that at least Cal and the Minister of Finance and his team could understand what's happening in the space, and the THA, we want the THA to be part of it as well, and so that all parties could come to one sort of understanding as to how we can really do something about this issue that we face with. Because it's not looking good. Candice, we are losing thousands of dollars a day in business. And as you indicated, if we can quantify it, we will see how it is. Given the island a bad taste, all those visitors came across for Great Race, can't get back. Some saying that I'm not coming back there again. It's not looking good at all, Candice.
But it can be argued that the Minister of Finance, Mr. Com Imbert, has been in that position as a minister for over 7 or 8 years. And, we had the problems in 2017, for which he presided over, with the issues with when the Sea Bridge had their concerns, which very much affected the business community in Tobago. And in some ways, the business community in Tobago is still recovering from those issues because it hasn't gotten a chance to breathe and all of that. But, I mean, it could be argued that he had enough time. He had enough time to try to understand why us in Tobago are so dependent on an effective working air bridge and sea bridge.
And Candice, you're sure you're right about that. I mean, what we see the goalpost moves, and the goalpost kept moving. We definitely need to get up to speed with what's happening. I mean, definitely. We see with the Port Authority, with the fast ferries, and I mean, it really done us well. I mean, because if it wasn't for these vessels, I don't know what would have happened in a situation like this. We would have been cut off. Tobago would have been isolated to a point. So, so thanks that the Port Authority did come in and really assist us there. But I'm still asking the Ministry of Finance and the Minister to have dialogue with us. We need to have pertinent dialogue so that we could really get down to the roots of this thing, what's really happening on the ground. And that meeting, we could also have the representative of the THA in that meeting so we all can understand what's really happening and come to some common ground. It's time we come to some common ground as to what's happening. And we want to send that invitation out to the Ministry of Finance and the Minister so that we could have that kind of dialogue as soon as possible.
All right, Mr. Curtis Williams. Well, viewers, we are not quite done with our conversation yet, but we have to take a quick break. So please don't go anywhere. And we'll be back with Mr. Williams to discuss these and other matters within our space.
Waiting for CXC results and wondering what's next? Or maybe you're looking to switch careers. Learn a skill to jumpstart your career at the NESC Technical Institute. Get qualified for jobs in the energy and industrial sectors, or even start your own business. Choose from automotive, electrical, instrumentation, drilling, welding, fabrication, AC refrigeration, IT networking, and more. NESC diplomas are gate approved. Classes begin in September. Visit nesc.edu.tt to apply.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. And everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show. And everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Excel Spa by Haley. where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149, ex-sales by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
It's a different type of deal. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversation this morning with Mr. Curtis Williams, who is the chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Now, Mr. Williams, we have Carnival scheduled, Tobago Carnival scheduled for the end of October. Now, and we are not seeing any relief to the air bridge problems, at least not in the immediate future. How will this affect the ability for us to attract enough people to the Tobago Carnival celebrations for it to be something that would bring in enough profit, whether it is the band leaders, the promoters, the business community, the hoteliers, and so on?
Candice, you see the reason why we want to have the meeting? It's because it's important that we see these events coming up. Next week is Independence, the following week, and then we see the Tobago Carnival coming up. And we don't want something, because it might look like if anytime Tobago is having prime activities that we have disruption in the air bridge. And we don't want to say that. But if we can put things in place, the Port Authority and CAL, to ensure that we have a smooth display for the Tobago Carnival in terms of getting folks across to Tobago, because we know for sure that if something like this do happen throughout that period, it will really set us back. It will make us look really, really, really bad. So we are asking, we are appealing now. Candice now is in August. We are appealing now to let the various parties sort out all the issues, so we have a free and exciting carnival period coming up. So we are asking, and no one can say we didn't ask. So if it do happen, we know something is wrong.
And what is the interest right now for Tobago Carnival? Like the frustrations of the air bridge aside, what is the interest at this point in time?
Candice, we all await that period of time. It's we have a lot of economic activity will happen among that time. We will have a rise in the arrivals. We will definitely have visitors on the island. We have the band leaders. We have all the players, the masqueraders, the business folks, all the vendors, the side vendors. Candice, that period has been a good time for us from what we experienced last year. So this year, we know it's going to be a bit bumper. It will be much better, bigger, better. And hence the reason why we are asking upon the different stakeholders, including the THE. Let's get to that point where we can have seamless travel between the two islands for that period, because it's important that we have a smooth travel between the island on that period that's happening coming up in Carnival time.
And certainly, especially for Carnival, that's when we definitely need some later flights. I mean, I remember when we used to have that late 12-something flight for, if you have to spend some time in Trinidad and come back, or even, with flights and so on. And we know the excuse that Caribbean Airlines has been given is they're saying that, it's a cost for to keep the airport open and so on. But the THA offered to fund the cost of keeping the airport open. Is this something that the chamber supports?
Yeah, definitely. It's a cost to keep the airport open, but the airport could be open and no flights. So it all comes to CAL. And who is the owner of CAL? Who's the shareholder? Who's the majority shareholder? Who's the owner? The government. And CAL will look at the balance sheet. CAL will look at the numbers, and CAL will say, okay, because this is not profit making for us, probably we might be able to go to that direction. The only one can instrument, the only person who is instrumental in getting this thing done, Candice, is the Minister of Finance. He is the main man in the picture here, and he definitely have to sit with his people and come up with some sort of plan, and Carl have to make that recommendation. We will say what we have to say on our side, and then Carl will make the recommendation, and then it will all, as I said, it all boils down to money. And if the Minister of Finance don't get involved, we know it ain't gonna solve.
Yes, but the conversation continues to come back to the issue that, the minister does know the situation, because time and time again, people in Tobago have complained. Many people, many stakeholders have explained this situation to him, but it seems as though none of it has resonated enough for him to do anything other than increase the fares to Tobago.
Well, Candice, we're going to give him this opportunity. We, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce Tobago Division, and my team will give the Minister of Finance, the CAL board, the CAL management, and the THA and the other stakeholders this opportunity to let's fix this once and for all. Candice, if it don't work out, then we know what we have to do in time to come. But we are giving all stakeholders the opportunity to have a conversation with us, because it's important. It is very much important. So we asked him to have a conversation with us.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to go to a few matters that the Chamber raised in their budgetary request for this year. And one of it is to treat with some of the taxes that we have in the tourism industry. Like, for instance, the 10% room tax. And what you all are saying is that it should not go into the consolidated fund. It should go towards marketing, training, and support of the industry. Because unfortunately, pretty much all the revenue that's collected in Trinidad and Tobago goes into one pot and then gets divided out, instead of, for instance, the taxes that come out of the tourism industry going back into tourism efforts.
And you're correct, because we were asking for some of that funds to go towards the marketing of the island. Tobago is under market, and there are folks out there who haven't heard of the island, and marketing is very, very much important. We are coming to the winter season, and then we definitely, we want to be there. We want to be there as a market or destination of choice. And in order to do that, we need to put some more funds into a marketing strategy as we move forward. And so we're asking if that 10%, that room tax, some of it can go towards that marketing in some meaningful way. I mean, Candice, among all the conversation, those are some of the things we will definitely be having with the Minister of Finance if he do come to that meeting where we can sit and discuss a couple of things that are affecting us greatly on the island. So hence the reason why we asked for that urgent meeting with him and the ministry.
Well, one of the last times that, or one of the times in recent years that the Minister of Finance was able to sit down with several stakeholders from Tobago, it was either 2017 or 2018. It was around the time that the Sea Bridge was having its issues. One of the commitments that Minister Imbert made was to treat with a land license issue, and he made a commitment to treat with it out of priority, because it has been something that the Chamber has been asking for over a decade. But 6 years later, we have not seen anything where that is concerned.
Candice, there are lots of commitments that we get from politicians, and they just don't live up to it. But it's up to us as the business community and other associations to hold these people accountable for their word. Yes, you mentioned the last time we had a meeting of that sort was I think at one of the hotels that the Prime Minister assembled a couple of his cabinet ministers to meet with stakeholders. And we are asking, I know the Prime Minister is out the country, but he must tune in. We are asking him if we can do something of that nature, because right at this stage, Candice, we need some assistance. We need the central government inside. We need money to be given to Tobago. There's a lot of need, and we definitely cannot continue on this path that we're going, Candice, because it's not going to be a really nice path. It will be a very, very rough path for us as a business community.
And as these situations continue, how would this affect foreign direct investments?
Well, definitely it would have an effect. I know for a fact that the chief said mentioned that he was looking forward to investors coming in the island. And I think from a Facebook post, I see that Trevor James, the secretary, and the chief sec is in New York at the Tobago festival there. Probably at that time, they may choose the opportunity to see how they can speak to some of their diaspora investors if they're willing to come back to Tobago and do some sort of investment. That would be great, because we really need the investment, the foreign direct investment. We really, really need it.
Mm-hmm. And then, as we're talking about that, you also mentioned in your budget request the idea to expand the port to allow more cruise ships. We saw that the THA, the Division of Infrastructure Works and Infrastructure Quarries and Urban Development, presented a plan, or presented the final report of the Scarborough redevelopment plan that would encompass the expansion of the cruise ship terminal and to allow more vessels to dock and so on. And do you think that they would be able to attract the foreign investors needed to be able to fund this plan? And have you seen this plan yourself to comment on it?
Candice, the opportunity was there for us to look at it. Now we see the final, and again, this plan is a mega project, and we will need all the players to be involved in it. It's not just going to be the THA. Definitely, we need some input from the central government. We will need TNTech. We will need WASA on board. We will need all the utilities. We may need the Port Authority. Candice, this is a mega project, and the THA can't do it alone because we belong to Trinidad and Tobago. So we will need these other state agencies some way or the other being involved in this project. So hence the reason why it's important that the THA lobby with the central government to get this project on the way. Yes, we know the investors may be there, but again, you will still need central government approval in certain areas. So, Candice, I think we're tired fight. We no longer want to fight. What we want is solutions now. We won't need an action plan, and we need solutions. We need to fix what's going on in Tobago, and the fighting gets us nowhere. As we can see, we're going nowhere. So we need to sit as big people, reasonable thinking people, and come to some solutions going forward.
All right, Mr. Williams. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will continue with our conversations this morning. So viewers, please don't go anywhere.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Are you flood ready? Monitor trusted sources for info. Wear protective gear when you clean up. Contact your insurance provider to assess the damage. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salad. salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversations this morning with the chairman of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Curtis Williams, and our focus is on the problems that we are facing on the air bridge, because even though there was the pilot sick out yesterday, that is just a drop in the bucket towards the problems that we face daily on the air bridge. That was in a way an isolated incident, but the truth is that every day we face problems on the air bridge, to the point where we're seeing now from the Trinidad Guardian a report that says that one person is saying that they've been coming to Tobago quite often, and the travel keeps getting worse and worse. You can't book ferry tickets in advance. You can't book plane tickets in advance. And, so they are thinking, they don't want to go through this again. And Mr. Williams, how should we react to something like this in Tobago? How should us as Tobagonians, the business community, or just regular Tobagonians react to this?
Candice, and this is reality. We both live here and we understand what's happening in the space. We have those problems as well. There's standby, there's no flights, and the issue that's happening with Cal. And hence the reason in coming out of this, we asked for such an urgent meeting with the various players, because we need to get down to the bottom of this. And let's see if it's a systematic issue. Let us see if it's a finance issue. Let us see if it's a strategic issue. We want to know what is the real problem. I hinted in my mind that the real problem might be finance. Hence the reason why we want the central government to be there, because I somewhat think the real problem is finance.
Mm-hmm. And viewers, just so you know, the lines are going to be opened so that you can send your voice, add your voice to the conversation. So the number to call is 284-6597. That is 284-6597. And we're going to leave the number up on the screen so that you can call in and add your voice to the conversation. I want to spend a little bit on the ferry. Now, certainly we need to thank the Inter-Island Ferry Service for being able to come into action so quickly to allow the passengers that were stranded on both islands to be able to get across. But we've been hearing the complaints that people are not being able to book ferry tickets in advance, sometimes more than a month. Is the chamber interested in this? Is the chamber looking into this matter at all?
Candice, definitely we're looking into all issues in terms of transport between the two islands, especially in these times, which is our real money-making time, as we want to say. We have constant dialogue with the Port Authority. Candice, when I say constant, I mean a day-to-day dialogue with the Port Authority. They're really working on their part, whether it's customer issues or other issues. The management of the port is really working on their part in helping us, especially at these times. We know that ticket booking have been a sore point, and it's something that they are looking into. But coming out from it with the additional sailing of the vessels, I know it's really going to put an ease on us moving between the island. Not neglecting the fact that we're not going to leave Cal alone. We need to fix Cal.
Certainly.
So the problem of the air bridge is not getting the ferry to I see a post where they put the Caribbean airline on the fast ferry.
Yes.
But that is not fixing the problem.
That's not
we
fixing
need
the
to
problem.
fix Cal problem. That's correct.
Certainly.
Definitely.
And we have a caller online. Good morning, caller, and welcome to you.
Yeah, morning. I've been listening to the matters with I can say, air bridge and the sea bridge.
Yes.
And what is happening here is that Tobago business becomes no priority for anybody in Trinidad. None whatsoever. So that is not in the interest of anybody in Trinidad that Tobago's business becomes a priority. Now, the amount of times the Tobagonian has to travel to Trinidad for business and for medical reasons, if Trinidadians had was to come here, they would have called it normal language. They did break away from Tobago a long time because they wouldn't be coming here. But Tobago has to be going through this agonizing period. And I'll say quickly that one would say, and I've heard people saying it, that when you had a PNM THA and a PNM central government, things would have gone smoothly. But that is the biggest lie. Because when all persons in a house doing the same wrong thing, it goes smoothly. But when a man comes in doing something right, then everybody is upset. And in Tobago, except the airline is managed from the THA, and except the airline is managed from the sea bridge is managed from the THA, Tobago will be going through this problem until Tobago gets its full autonomy. There is no way at all that Tobago can continue to develop being directed or dictated from Port of Spain. There isn't anybody down there who has Tobago interests at heart as a priority. Take, for example, quickly, deeds and a number of matters go down to Trinidad in a pile high as the sky, and nobody takes out Tobago deed and say, well, okay, this is from Tobago, do that. Whenever it comes up in the spin, it comes up if it ever comes up. And there's where we are. So we cannot continue like this. This island will never develop under any central government administration. Thank you much.
And thank you so much. And Mr. Williams, what say you? Do you think that just this political situation, and do you think that the THA should have even more voice on whether it's Caribbean Airlines or the management of Caribbean Airlines, the management of the air bridge, and the management of the sea bridge than it currently does?
Candice, I somewhat agree with the caller. We need we need an input into the operation of both the port and the air bridge. The THA should have at least 2 representatives on each board so that they can ventilate the issues that affect the Tobagonian public on the various boards. I'm not sure where the Port Authority board is at the present moment. Also the CAL, the CAL board. So we definitely need that input as we go forward. That's important.
All right, viewers, and the lines remain open, 284-6597, 284-6597. Lend your voice to the conversation. Now, let us know, even what do you think we should do as a people, as an island, as people who are daily affected by the situation. So, I mean, even though, like I said, even though this situation where the pilots themselves taking action, it's somewhat isolated, but it doesn't take away from the fact that every day we face problems. Every day we are unable to get tickets when we want to, and so much is wasted. And Mr. Williams, tell me about, just the productivity that's affected by us spending or sleeping some nights in the airport.
Candice, we're losing a lot. You can imagine that your staff have to conduct business in Trinidad, and you're losing 4 or 5 hours in delay time, and then getting down. You might be late for your appointment, and then you probably have to overnight. It's an additional cost. So when you think you would have been a day run, it ended up being a day and a half or maybe more. You have to find suitable accommodation, and those who don't have funds to find such accommodation have no choice but to sleep in that cold airport. It's not an easy thing, Candice. It's very, very difficult. Some of our students still travel to Trinidad for studies, and I've seen them overnighting there at the airport. Candice, is really, really difficult when you think about it. And so hence the reason why something got to be done. And we can't continue doing the same thing over and over. We have talked about this issue for the last umpteen years, and I sat here and see nothing done. So I think this is the final straw. We need action. We need to get things done.
Now, one of the complaints coming out of yesterday, we had some people who, travel into Trinidad to catch a connecting flight on Caribbean Airlines to elsewhere. And their complaint was that Caribbean Airlines would provide accommodation and so on for international passengers, but not if you're a resident of Trinidad and Tobago. And we know for people coming from Tobago going to Trinidad thinking that planning it so that it's just a hop over, spend a few hours in Piaco, get on your flight to wherever your final destination is. But being caught in this issue, they now have to find their own accommodation because Caribbean Airlines policy does not apply to residents of Trinidad and Tobago.
You're correct. I witnessed it myself. I'm traveling abroad and we got delayed, and the delay went over a certain time frame, and they put us up at a hotel, give us a meal, etc., etc. So being domestic, because it's one country, that don't apply. At least some sort of communication. Candice, is not what you do, it's how you do it. And if for some reason there's some disruption in the air bridge, and we just the communication to the people at the airport would be suffice, would be good, instead of just having you just standing there, don't know what's going on. You don't have a representative of cargo to address you. Sometimes you don't have that. You sat there for hours, and then you probably had to ask someone or make a call somewhere or to read Facebook posts. But someone could address the Tobagonians or the folks traveling between the islands at the various airports and said, okay, this is the situation, and we are sorry for what happened, and we will give you priority next day. Because sometimes you stay there overnight, and then next morning, they're telling you go on the line and pick numbers, You
Yes.
slept in the airport overnight, and nobody's going to say, well, because you slept here overnight, I'm going to give you priority next day, or you didn't get through, I'm going to give you priority next day, so you're going to be probably number 1 or number 2, as the case may be. Candice, no, you got to go and pick a number and wait. So, for instance, if you wake up late after sleeping, they don't care.
They don't care at all.
I
And
can
I've
see that
experienced
caring.
it. I've experienced it so many times that,
Yeah, that
they just, it doesn't matter. You've seen even
no,
people there. You've seen people that might have landed from a flight, by the time they clear customs and so on, it's definitely too late to make a connection flight over to Tobago. So they have to spend the night in the airport, sometimes with their children and so on. I mean, and they're not even given priority the next day.
No, next day nobody cares, and that's what that's one of the downfall with Caribbean Airline. And I'm asking Caribbean Airline if they can work on that customer service aspect of it. So I mean, we overnight, and with next morning you could say, okay, fine, I'll give you guys priority. Nothing like that, Candice. It's in local language, dog eat dog. So there's no emphasis placed on that person who have to sleep in the airport overnight for the next morning. So that customer service, so we need Caribbean Airlines to put that customer service rep on the ground, speaking to the passengers that have been affected, and to at least give us some sort of comfort. Yes, you might be able to compensate me because I may be traveling from south to come all the way up to Piaco to get this flight across to Tobago, but then I may have to go back south, or I may have to go by a friend, or what the case may be, but at least some kind of compassionate, something of that sort. There's nothing like that. It's raw. Nobody answers you. You have to be asking questions, and you go into the rep and them from some Swissport, and that's it. But we want to see a Caribbean Airline rep. We want to see someone in Caribbean Airline uniform speaking to the people, telling them what's happening, and assuring them that, okay, next day we'll see how best we can facilitate you. This is your number, hold this card or something, or hold this number that next morning we will have facilitate you, with some sort of urgency. Nothing like that, Candice. It's salt, nothing.
Now, Mr. Williams, what about the idea of having additional airlines operating the air bridge? Do you think it's time that we really consider opening it up to some competition just to make it easier? Because I still remember the days of Air Caribbean, and it seemed as though Air Caribbean handled the air bridge a lot smoother back then than what Caribbean Airlines has been giving us for the last couple decades.
And Liat used to fly as well too. Not only Caribbean airline, Liat used to fly. I remember going on Liat
Yes.
and flying. Candice, there may be some technicalities that will have to be worked out if that need to happen, and hence the reason why in our conversation with these players, especially the Ministry of Works, Ministry of Finance, we can find out what are the technicalities and we can get these things sorted out if they ought to be sorted out. But we can't sit here and think what's happening on that end. So hence the reason why I want the players, Caribbean Airline, the ministry folks, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Finance, the THA, to meet with the stakeholders, sit around a round table, and let's discuss the challenges we face today and how the way forward and how we can really fix these things, because it's not looking good. Tobago depends on that air bridge and the sea bridge, and we need to really get this thing seamless. It's time, Candice. We have been bantering this point over and over and over. You will do numerous interviews with different stakeholders in the space, and there will be nothing will solve unless some serious action take place. So we are appealing to all the players. Let's meet and get this thing sorted out.
Do you have a date or a time for that special meeting? Are you throwing it out there at all?
I'm throwing it out there. I know budget time is coming up, so I know the Ministry of Finance will be very, very busy getting things together. The Prime Minister is out the country, but I'm throwing it out there for the players. We are ready when you're ready. We at the Chamber Trinidad Tobago Division, we are ready when you guys ready. Just tell us the time. We want to throw the invitation out in a written format to the various ministries and Carl, and we definitely will want to meet when you guys are ready. But we want this thing to be done as soon as possible.
All right. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Williams. I know you spent a whole hour with us, and I want to thank you so much for taking some time with us, because this is so important. It's such an important discussion. I mean, and I'm really hoping that the authorities in Trinidad get the message, because you've been listening to them over the years, and you hear some of the comments that are coming from the politicians in Trinidad, and you really wonder if they're just not paying attention to the daily struggles, because it's not like it has not been said. It has been said from many, many different platforms, from many different stakeholder groups. But it seems as though like there is either maybe a stubbornness to understand the Tobago struggle.
And you're right. And then, Candice, you knew some of them were here during the Great Race period. So they get affected too. So they get a pinch of what we do.
A pinch.
Have experience, what we definitely experience on a daily basis, Candice. So I'm really looking forward to that meeting of the stakeholders as we go forward. And thanks again, Candice.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Well, viewers, we are coming towards the end of the program. But, you know, I just want to throw it out to you. I mean, this is a time for you to speak out in whatever form that you choose, because this is a situation that really affects us. Whether or not the government is listening, I really sometimes wonder if they do pay attention, if they do care, because the last time they did anything about Caribbean Airlines, they raised the airfare. You know, they also put a change fee on for us, but they have not fixed the real issues. They told us that our change fee that they instituted back in 2019 thereabouts would, you know, would improve the way that we travel, but it has not happened. They said that, you know, they need more money, which is why they increased the airfare, and that didn't change. So, you know, viewers, I just want to say that you know, let's see if the government would listen at this point in time. I mean, naturally, the pilots, they need their extra money because, I mean, they are the ones that are flying the planes. They need to be properly compensated, but the air bridge needs to be properly serviced at the same time. So I want to thank you so much for being on with us. It was a pleasure, but whatever you do, have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.